of the show. This is it.
Get ready for truth and common sense. Join the Framers View on rumble.com to be part of the chat. Be sure to click join and follow to help keep the Framer on the air. Watch the replay on theframersview.com or rumble.com.
Your pants on. Welcome to Framers View. It's a Tuesday, and that's the second day of the week. That's why they call it Tuesday. So here we are. Man, I got so much going on. It's never, ever going to happen. I just want to make sure everybody understands that it's never, ever going to happen. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Neil, hey, Framer, what does that mean? Well, today is going to be a special day. First of all, welcome to Framers View. Do me a favor, click on that follow button. You know, that's there on the screen if you're using Rumble. Click on that and click on share, and you can make comments. There's all kinds of fun stuff you can do. It's technology. It's a wonderful thing when it works. But anyway, so like I said, we're going to have a little fun today. Do something a little different. You know, I guess the way to say it is, I want to remind you what happened literally starting in 2015 and where we've gone and where we are. And, you know, if we don't understand history, it'll happen again. That's the way I say it. And the history and remembering what was said and done by the press, by people that hated Trump, the people that still hate Trump, it is enormous. So we're going to have some fun with that. I've got some videos I'm going to be dropping in as we go along to show you and remind you what we're up against, because we're still up against some things that you might not think is still there, and they are. So anyway, we'll be doing that. So the feds are doing too much, and we need to understand that it's supposed to be the states. The Constitution says that, and we'll discuss that a little bit. I've gone through some medical stuff, as you know, if you've been following this show, and some of the things that goes on in the medical world is just stunning. But as bad as it is, there's other places you would worry more. And I want to make that clear because it's an important factor, an important aspect of who we are as America and what we have to keep our focus on. So plastics was a good idea clear back in the 30s. We'll talk about that a little bit. And finally have an answer to how to hire Gen Z people. It's been put together by someone, and I just want to share it with you because if you hire people from Gen Z group, the answers are going to be right here. So we'll see that. But first, you know, peaceful transition from Biden to Trump. Oh yeah, we're going to be better than Trump was with Joe Biden. Well, today, just before I started the show, I saw a story that Kamala Harris is refusing J.D. Vance, the new vice president, in just a few days, to be able to see where he's going to be living to make some plans. She's not going to let him in. You poor, losing, I won't say it. It is just stunning how, you know, once again, you lose a game, you shake hands as you go across the ice with the other team, whether you like them or not, whether you felt you should have won, whether you worked so hard, whether you've trained so hard, you lost. And if you don't think that somebody's been as lucky as I have and being successful in my life, that I have never lost, that I don't know what it feels like to lose. Man. And when you're an entrepreneur, which I've been all my life, have I ever had things that's failed? Yeah. But you get up, you accept it, and you move on. And for Kamala Harris to refuse access to the vice presidential quarters to J.D. Vance is just unbelievable. So in this ear that I have, that I can hear this show, I've had my little headset in all morning while I've been working on the final parts of my show. And I've been watching Pete Hegseth in his Senate hearings for his nomination to be Department of Defense, the Secretary of Defense. And you know what? As I've watched this, I am just stunned at how obnoxious the Democrats can be. Of course, they've been given their marching orders by Chuck Schumer. Make it easy, make it hard. Don't make it easy. Make it difficult. Point everything out you can. Even things that never really happened. Even things that he's been cleared up. Just accuse him of it anyway. Get it out there. Make sure the press and the public see that. Make sure he looks bad. He's still going to get approved, I think, because his answers and his unwillingness to give in to the BS that's coming from the Democrats is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And, you know, he's taking the arrows and he's taking them for you and me. He's taking them for all the people that's in the military. And one of the biggest things that's happening, and I'll have some of this tomorrow to show, because you probably don't have time to watch. I mean, he's been on for about an hour and a half now already, and there's no end in sight. But I'll have some stuff for you. But the number one issue that these obnoxious jacks on the Democrat side have had is that he doesn't want women in the military, which is not what he said. He doesn't want women in battle, which is kind of what he said. But he's made it clear, and they just won't allow the clarity to be out there. He did say something, he being Pete Hegseth, he did say something that to me was the guiding light that would be something that I would say for the fire service. And that is that, you know, when these military infantry men and women go into battle, boots in the dirt, dust, mud, and bomb-infested grounds, when they go into those areas, they're carrying about 100 pounds of equipment. If you're carrying a rifle, one of the high-powered rifles, they're 50 pounds. Your backpack, all of your equipment, you've got an extra 100 pounds on you. If you're a 125-pound woman, a 150-pound woman or man, to carry that all day, to be under the pressure of either being shot at or could be shot at, going on in missions that are an adrenaline drainer after you've had adrenaline coming out of your ears. I've not gone through it, but it's pretty easy to imagine. And it is stunning to me that they make it sound like Pete Hegseth doesn't think any woman can be in a battle situation. He even said, you know, when there's a negotiation that has to happen, when you have to go into a building and try to get people out and they have to negotiate with them, and there's children and women in there, to have a woman with them makes a huge difference. But to be carrying 100 pounds when you're 125 pounds, 150 pounds, man, I'll tell you, again, just like women in sports and men in sports, men are just stronger and they get killed more often. So, you know, men's job is to make sure women are okay. That's what we learned as kids. I don't know why we even put them into a battle situation, to be honest with you. It's insane. You know, if they have a family. Man. But anyway, Hegseth is doing a hell of a job. And you may not agree with me, but I've got enough experience in doing things that's really involving men and women. Women have so much better decision making than men in so many instances. Women have so much more steady calmness than men in many situations. Many. But there is a dividing line. It's the same as the guy on one side of the volleyball net and the woman on the other side. She's not expecting to see that ball come at her at a speed she's never seen, and she can't defend against it. And that's what he's saying. And I agree with him. So, that's that. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. All right. So, today I said to you at the beginning of the show, and I've got it on my title, that the whole idea of this president coming into office is really, when you get right down to it, a amazing overcome of the anti-American groups. People who were determined he would never win. It's never going to happen. People that were determined to push back in all situations and keep him from getting there. And the press that kept lying, cheating, the FBI, the CIA, all the people that went after Trump. So I'm going to be showing some stuff today that is a reminder of what happened from 2015 when he just started talking about running through the end of the first election in 2016 for him to take office in 2017. Some of these things you will have seen, but I've got a bunch of them I want to show you because they're important for us to know, and it's fun to have it, and I've got a great ending as we come to the end of the show with these videos. So the first one I want to bring up right now because when you have press and comedians and people who say it's never going to happen, now what we know, it's fun to see this. Watch.
Nominee, Chuck. I mean, as you know, I'm ahead in Ohio.
So Jenny, could he actually win?
No freaking way!
He will be tempted to run, be predictably shellacked.
Do not tell me that Donald Trump is in this to win this, okay? He's a sideshow.
This is going to turn a three-ring circus into a freak show.
He's not running for president. He's running for Keep Me Famous.
I thought this was maybe some strategy for a new reality show.
How should Republicans handle Donald Trump?
Ignore him.
And Donald Trump is not going to be the nominee this point.
Well, I don't think it's likely that Donald Trump will be the nominee.
Well, I do, based on your theme, believe that he's here to stay for a while, maybe through a few primaries, but he is not going to be the nominee.
Well, I'm going to support the Republican nominee, and I'm comfortable that it's not going to be Donald Trump.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
Donald Trump will not become president.
He's not going to be president. He is not. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to a bank. I guarantee it.
All right.
I think if he becomes the president, he'll make it great because the states is already.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
I'm at like Tom.
Take it from me. How about that?
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Almost don't want to say anything there, do I? Twice. Never going to happen. It happened. These are the things that we have to remember make a difference in our lives. When somebody has everyone so scared of breaking the establishment, what is the crooked, corrupt establishment of our government. The very thing that the founders of our country, the framers of our country, as in the framers' view, wanted to get away from. And the problem is that power is the most destructive thing you could ever have. And when you get that power, and when you get that fame, you don't know how to let go. And when somebody comes along that's going to threaten that established corruption, that's making you millions of dollars when you only make $200,000 a year, and you have expenses against that, but you somehow have millions of dollars, you will do everything you can to keep that person from getting in office. That's the point. That's the very point of what this show is today. And I will keep reminding you of it's never going to happen as we go through this hour. So the government has become too big. We all know that. There's this thing, you might have heard about it. It's called the Constitution. I think I bring this up every day, don't I? The Constitution. And there's an amendment that makes a very good point. It's the X amendment, as I jokingly say. It's the 10th Amendment. It's in the right here in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of these here United States. It's the 10th Amendment. And here's the point of this. (1930), 33% of the government, the shared spending versus state and local, 33% was the federal government, 67% was the state and local. These are countries, states that are part of the country, but should not be overridden by the federal government all the time. Look where we are in 2023. It's reversed. 60% is federal spending versus state and local compared to 40% for states. This is not right. This is insane. That's why Trump, for an example, wanted to have the abortion issue given to the states. That's why many of the other things need to go to the states. The Constitution, the 10th Amendment, right inside of here, says that. We should follow the Constitution. Seems like a good idea to me since it's what has made this country as great as it is. I watched a video yesterday of a black guy that was in a discussion with another black woman who was saying, you know, she's has no opportunities. Everything's been taken away from her. She has nothing. And he said, well, you know, your hair looks really nice. And you've got nice jewelry on. And he just was naming all those things. He said, how are you saying that you don't have a fair life? And she had to keep saying, because it's not fair. He said, well, it's fair to me. I don't know what your problem is. Basically, that's what he was saying. And the answer to her, or from her, was, well, you know, it's not fair. The white supremacists beat us up. Well, how am I standing here? And this is what the black guy said, standing here at a conference talking. Why haven't I been tamped down? Now, the answer is, I haven't been. That is why we have to remember where we stand. America is the best place in the world. I've been other places than on this country, this country here. And it's not the same anywhere else. And it ain't better. Let's remind ourselves about it's not going to happen a little bit more.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
So when you stand and deliver that State of the Union address, in no part of your mind or brain can you imagine Donald Trump standing up one day and delivering a State of the Union address?
Well, I can imagine it in a Saturday night skit.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
He will never be president of the United States.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
Next, I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Sorry to laugh.
Okay, here we are. And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? But come on, buddy. All, let's say, cow poo-poo aside, there is zero chance we'll be seeing you being sworn in on the Capitol steps with your hand on a giant...
Well, gee whiz, I guess he didn't get that one right, did he? I'm just reminding you this. There's a reason I'm doing this. These are the very people that kept Trump from winning in 2020 because they kept doing everything negative about Trump. No matter what good was happening, they just kept crushing it. And they don't even know what good and bad is. They just have their agenda and their corruption. So speaking of corruption, this isn't about me, but I have to correlate something here. I'm going through some medical stuff that's going to work out. Looks like everything's going to be okay. But the point is, going through what it takes. I went into an emergency room, going back now about 4 months ago, and almost 5 months ago. And I walked into the emergency room, and I was there for 9 hours. 9 hours. Now, did they take care of me? They saw I was very bad off. They got me into a room. They did a few things, and nothing happened from there. For 9 hours, I couldn't even get water. I kept asking for some water. They're understaffed. They don't have help. They're overrun by people that's in that I keep saying nursing room, in that emergency room that don't belong there. And they don't belong there because they could go to a doctor if doctors would see you. But they're so overrun that they can't get you in for 6 weeks. So you end up in an emergency room. And then I won't even get into the whole illegal residence issue of them using them for them being the emergency room for a doctor's office. It's overrunning it. And that's terrible. And so the end of that story is yes, they did take care of me. The people who were supposed to be doing x-rays never got notification for it. He didn't know it. They had been ordered 3 hours before he found out about it. That's a bad situation. But for all that whining, for all of those complaints that we're talking about there, okay? And it's like, okay, enough. There's places it's worse. And one of those places is where Donald Trump would like to make it 51st state. Look at this. The grim reality of Canada's buckling healthcare system. The Fraser Institute's survey of specialist physicians has been carried out every year since 1993. And this year's median wait time is the highest recorded in that time span. 30 weeks between referral from a general practitioner and receipt of treatment. This is in Canada. This is up from 27.7 weeks last year and an increase of 222% since 1993, when the median wait was just 9.3 weeks. This is Canada. 30 weeks. The report calculates that Canadians are waiting for a total of 1,543,994 medical procedures and estimates that 3.7% of the population is currently on a waiting list for a procedure. There's only a reason for procedure. You need help. Diagnostics are also facing significant backlogs with expected wait times of 16.2 weeks for a magnetic resonance image, MRI. 8.1 weeks for a computed, let's just call it CT scan. I won't take you through the medical words. And 5.2 weeks for an ultrasound. Think about this. For a simple ultrasound, according to a study by think tank Second Street Org, at least, this is scary, 17,032 Canadian patients died while waiting for surgeries or diagnostic scans from April of 2022 to March of 2023. Ladies and germs, I say that because we're talking medicine. Ladies and germs, when we think it's bad here, to have to wait 30 weeks, to have 17,000 people die while they're waiting for help. And you know what an emergency room is for? An emergency room is for people like when I went into the emergency room, I shouldn't have been driven down there. I was that bad off. It's for emergencies, a life-threatening situation. But the problem is that the medical community is become corrupt, not in the doctor's factor, maybe a little bit because of the money they make if they do this step and that step the right way. But it's about the fear of lawsuits, the cost of education, and how they're trying to keep doctors from making money, how the negotiation process happens for them to get paid for what they do, and then the cost of medical equipment. If we were going to subsidize something, we should be reducing the cost of medical equipment. When you look at hundreds of thousands of dollars for a surgery, $100,000 for something simple, it is something that needs to be pulled apart and look at each one of the elements of it. Because every business has elements of operation. And there's a broken situation when you talk about equipment, the cost of making this stuff, the cost of what it takes to get past the EPA and the CDC and all of the things to be able to have an approved product, it could be done quicker. I'm not saying it should be done with less care. There's a reason that we have less incidence of bad medicine compared to some other countries. But to make it as long as it takes, and the people that suffer from that, and I'd be afraid. I tried to find good information on how many people die while they're waiting for procedures. I can't really find it. But that's what we are looking at. So, people just can't stand it that Trump's going into office. And one of the things that's been brought up is that Bill Maher is going to retire and leave because he's had it. Trump won. Well, let's see what Bill Maher actually says. And he's funny, and he doesn't like Trump, and he's a Democrat. He's a total liberal, and that's fine. But let's look at the fact they said he wants to quit, and let's look at the real story.
I'm not retiring, and I don't know where this started about real time. Getting rid of real time. They're going to have to drag me off of that show. What I was saying was that I didn't want to do another Trump term. Not just because I don't think it's going to be possibly a great time for America. Maybe again, not going to pre-hate anything. But because I've already done all the jokes about Donald Trump. I don't know what else to say about the guy. But of course, he will provide us with a lot of new material, and I'll get into it. But I was hoping that in the episodic television show that is America, I was hoping for some.
Yeah, he was hoping. He was hoping that Trump wouldn't win. New characters. You know what? It doesn't matter who's in office. There's going to be humor. There's going to be humor. It's guaranteed. There's always humor that you can do. You can make fun of politicians. They're going to say something stupid. If you're in front of a camera when you're not preparing a show like I do, I say stupid stuff. Sometimes I use the English language improperly. I say things that aren't accurate, and I fix it. But when you're a president and you're in front of the camera, boy, they're going to have a fun job with that. They're just going to have a fun job. Speaking of fun job, here's another little run of the things they say it ain't going to happen. Trump can't win.
I'll make a prediction though for you. I don't really get into predictions much, but this one I'll go way out on a limb. Donald Trump will never, ever be president of the United States. That Trump should not be in this race. He's an absurdity. He is a travesty.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
Donald Trump is here today, gone tomorrow, candidate for president of the United States. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Ever respectful of the fact that people have not voted, he's not going to be president of the United States.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump will lose the election.
I mean, he had a really good chance to be different and really have a chance to change things, but he doesn't do the work. He's lazy.
We talk about him every day, and we continuously bash him. Be the president. Don't worry about it. Exactly.
It has to be a wake-up call to the Republican Party. Despite Boris thinking that Donald Trump would win New York, the presidential race is over.
Isn't it fun to look back? Isn't it fun to realize that remember, if you watch my show much, hate destroys. I say that many times. And this hate, this despise of Donald Trump, who was breaking all the establishment processes when he came in 4 years ago, and he didn't know how they operated. Now he knows, and they're really worried about that. They're really, really worried about that. But he breaks those establishment rules. He tries to clean up this country, and that's what they didn't want back in 2015 and 2016 before he actually was in the election itself and the election and what happened at the end of that. But they did manage to keep him out of there for 2020 by the lies, the deceit, the illegal legal that went on as called lawfare. And that did work for them for 2020. And I think every one of them ought to be punished for it. But it's not going to happen because retribution isn't what Trump's after. He's after success. He wants to walk away with success. You know, that's pretty honorable if you ask me. Even if you don't ask me. It is. So Trump, he's an ego, I guess, giant. He has a massive ego. He's a narcissist, as is every person that ever makes their way to President of the United States. You have to be. That's almost like a requirement. If you had your little piece of paper and you filled out, and it says on there at the top, if you were applying for this job, President of the United States, and you want to be, you have to prove that you're a narcissist. That's really what they'd have to do. Because you have to not care what anybody thinks about you. You have to be unwilling to listen to stupidity and let it drive you away from what you believe. You have to be a narcissist. Now, we have a narcissist in the office right now. And I have to tell you, I wanted to play this video. It happened yesterday. He was at the state house talking to the defense group, his bye-bye message. And some of the things he said, if you haven't seen this, it's just classic. Watch this, and we'll come back on the other side.
Compared to 4 years ago, America is stronger. Our alliances are stronger. Our adversaries and competitors are weaker. We have not gone to war to make these things happen. During my presidency, I've increased America's power in every dimension. We've increased our diplomatic power, creating more allies than the United States has ever had in the history of our nation. We've increased our military power, making the most significant investments in the defense industrial base in decades. We've increased the technology power, taking the lead in artificial intelligence and other technologies of the future. And we've increased the economic power, building the most dynamic economy in the world, from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. In short, Kamala and I took office, our nation had become stronger at home. Are stronger in the world. And now America is more capable and I would argue better prepared than we've been in a long time. Our sources of national power are far stronger than we were when we took office. Our economy is booming, although there's more work to do. Our technologies, from artificial intelligence to biotech, quantum, and to advanced semiconductors, are the envy of the world. And we have made the most significant investments in America and the American workers since the New Deal. I hope many of you are going to be staying in the next administration to keep this moving.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen. I think, first of all, we're stronger. Our economy is booming. Our economy is better than it's ever been. What is this man talking about? Not that he knows what he's talking about. And he misspoke. I don't know if you caught it, but he said that when he came into office, we were stronger, we were better. He was supposed to say, we made it stronger and better, I think, was what the speech was supposed to be. But he can't even read. And it isn't better. The economy isn't better. I've shown you that. I've shown you so much from a financial standpoint of where we are, as opposed to what he claims where we are. First of all, I don't think he knows what he's saying. And secondly, the people behind the curtain, odds, that's telling him what to say and writing the speeches are disgusting. I can't imagine being the press secretary for Joe Biden, even KJP. She's really good at throwing the BS. She's really good at making it stick with the liberal media and the people that want to hate Trump and support Biden to the end. But in the darkness, with the cameras off, when there's some place where nobody could see or hear, they're going, yeah, he had to go. And yeah, Kamala wasn't the replacement. If they would have allowed a fair election of candidates to replace Biden, and Biden would have stepped down in January of last year, to be able to allow that process to work, they might have won because the press would have helped. But they took somebody that was so bad as president out of the position and put somebody that was actually worse as the new candidate. And here they are. Friends, it is stunningly obvious that the Democrats have lost their way. It just is. And to prove the fact that the press, now that Trump has won this election and is going into office next Monday, today's Tuesday, we're less than a week away, they know that they got a problem because there's more people that support Donald Trump than the Democrat Party, as evidenced by the fact that he won the popular vote and the electoral vote. But watch this. I can't remember this guy's name. He's on CNN, and he does all kinds of things showing numbers and showing how Trump or Biden was going to win or Kamala was going to win. And he kind of started to change. But this is fascinating. Watch this about Biden winning.
Okay, Joe Biden in his exit interview with USA Today claims that he could have beaten Donald Trump had he stayed in the race. So this begs the question, could Biden have won the 2024 election had he stayed in the race? Truthfully, I categorize his statement as flat-out bonkers. Why do I say his statement is flat-out bonkers that he could have won the 2024 election had he stayed in the race? Just take a look here, the road to 270 electoral votes, Trump versus Biden, based upon polling when Biden dropped out of the race. Look at those Great Lake battleground states. You know the ones I'm talking about, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Donald Trump ahead in all three. How about here in the Southeast, North Carolina, Georgia? Again, Trump leads. How about here in the Southwest, Nevada, Arizona? Again, Trump leads. But it's not just that Trump was ahead. He was ahead by a lot in these key battleground states. Again, when Biden dropped out of the race, let's take a look at the polls in the Great Lakes. What do we got? 3, 4, 5-point leads in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania for Trump. A lot of red on this side of the screen as well. Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona. Those key Sunbelt battleground stats, 5, 6, and 6-point leads. My goodness gracious. Of course, this is just one point in time. I know that's what Joe Biden would like to argue. So let's look at the entire 2024 campaign. Days Biden led Trump in 2024 when Biden was still in the race. Get this. 0, nada, no days was Biden ahead of Donald Trump. Now, of course, we look at one point in time. We'll look at when Biden was still in the race. What would have happened if Biden had stayed in the race? Is there any record of candidate as unpopular as Joe Biden winning? Look, Biden's net approval rating on election day, minus 19 points. Look at this. 0-6 incumbents reelected with a negative net approval rating. The bottom line is this. Joe Biden was behind, he had always been behind, and he most likely would have stayed behind, and that's why I categorize his statement that he could have won the 2024 election.
Wow. That's CNN. CNN. This guy, you know, he makes realistic statements so many times. You know, you look at those numbers. I didn't even realize till I watched that. Maybe I forgot it, but the fact that Biden never led Trump, and the fact that Kamala led Trump was because she was like lauded as the queen. As soon as she came in, they decided, okay, we got to put her up on a pedestal that's, excuse me, so high that she can't help but win. That's really what it was about. That's really what was going on there. They had to figure out a way to make that happen. So, another little, it can't ever happen. It's never going to happen. The first one here with Obama is just classic.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
new NBC News Survey Monkey poll is out today. It puts Hillary Clinton up by 10 points over Donald Trump. And this is not the first poll since the conventions to give Clinton a double-digit lead. This is actually the fourth. Four polls that have Clinton up by more than 10 points, or at least 10 points. Dame the kind of lead she has leaped out into this race.
This is the same guy.
You could see other states that suddenly get crazy, states you wouldn't have even imagined, like a South Carolina, even a Texas. They could at least become competitive. And what it would mean doesn't mean Hillary Clinton's going to win all of these. It means we could have more competitive states than we ever imagined. That's the way the lay of the land right now at this low moment for Donald Trump.
That's the same guy that said he didn't have a chance. And he was looking at that. And honestly, when you compare the Kamala Harris or Joe Biden campaign against Hillary Clinton, I think Hillary Clinton had a better chance of winning for sure. She was relatively articulate, although she was falling over, not healthy, not well. But, you know, she was, by all standards, much better and much stronger than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, that person who won't let JD into the vice presidential residence to see what it is and what they have to plan for their family when they move in next week. Help me. Just, it's insane. So I want to break away from politics for just a second and talk about something. You know, we talk about ingenuity, we talk about new ideas, we talk about all the things that people try to do that are inventions. And a lot of you that actually know me, watch this show, know that I'm an old car guy and was a big Ford guy with Ford dealerships. And Henry Ford, who I never met the original Henry Ford, but he was a genius. He was amazing. He was born, if I remember this correctly, 1863. 1863. He died in 1947, which would explain why I never met him. But he was a genius, and he did something I thought was fascinating. And I bring this in because ingenuity, ideas, concepts sometimes don't work the first time. And sometimes we move on to other things. And part of that I'm saying is like the EVs. It's maybe a good idea and some people will want it. Let them have it. Let's not subsidize it. Don't give them money to buy the car. Don't have to do that. You know, one of the things that Lee Iacocca said that was his biggest regret was when he started rebates. He put a rebate on the K car, and we've never been able to get away from it. We're basically buying people's interest to buy your vehicle. Instead of building something that somebody says, I got to have, or your price is so good, that's what I need to buy. But not to have rebates to make people come. And then they found out you take the rebate away and nobody shows up at the store. The price is the price. Make a deal. But here's what Henry Ford did. This is fascinating. On this day in 1942, Henry Ford patented a soybean car, a plastic vehicle, 30% lighter than traditional cars. Sorry about that. I think I'm dying. But it never entered production due to World War II. The Saturn car that was built a number of years ago was a plastic car. It finally made its way. It didn't sell very well because the car wasn't that great. But the idea of plastic and making it lighter, that was popular. And it was better overall than fiberglass, which was what you saw like in a Corvette. And you'd see the cracks in the body from the cold and any bump that happens. That was a problem. But the Saturn, if it took enough of a hit, it would just break like any plastic. And if it was cold, it'd break like any plastic. You know, metal just bends, and usually you can bend it out if it's not real bad, or just take the panel off and replace it. But that's where we are today. That's where he was. A brilliant idea. Brilliant idea brought by a brilliant guy that came up with line production. Just amazing. At a time where you wouldn't think about it. So, second to last story about it can never happen. Watch this obnoxiousness.
It'll be interesting. Tomorrow night, I think when Hillary Clinton wins, that Donald Trump will have lost this election from the very first day he announced.
If the numbers bear out what we're seeing thus far, Hillary Clinton will win Florida. And the delicious irony in this is that Donald Trump will have been kept from the White House by a big, beautiful brown wall.
And CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas. He has now taken the lead. Donald Trump has 128 electoral votes. Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio. He has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 109. Idaho, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona.
But we should really just take a moment here and look at this. Pollsters predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to have not just a victory, but that she was going to win an electoral landslide. Not only is that not happening, it is entirely possible that Donald Trump is truly redrawing the map the way that he said he was going to. It was Donald Trump versus almost all of the experts, and as of right now, it looks like Donald Trump was right.
I love that music. This is as the reality starts setting in. Really pretty fascinating. But when that one woman said, I don't know who she was, I couldn't figure out, I don't think she was a TV person, I think she was just a pundit or somebody. When she said when Hillary Clinton is sworn in, wins tomorrow night, he will be walking away from a landslide loss. They just couldn't see the truth. And I've always said, don't believe the polls. The only poll that counts, hopefully, is the election itself. I can make a poll. You give me any answer you want for any question you want, and ask me to get an answer the way you want it. I guarantee you, I can make it look like it's a fair a survey, and absolutely drive it to your side. I could do it any day. I worked in a campaign. I saw how these people work. I saw how our competition did that. It was fascinating with the way they were doing polls. And I was just working on a congressional campaign. But it was fascinating how they could make those polls work. And you look and you read it, and you don't understand the philosophy they use as the setups, as they're going through the questions to get you to say what they want you to say in this question now. It's diabolical, really, when you get right down to it. But that's what they do. So here we are, 2016, about to win the election. But I want to step forward before I do my final piece. I mentioned to you that we've come up with the answer on how to hire Gen Z people. I mean, it's a question. Yeah, how do we figure out how do we hire them? They don't want to work from in the office. They want to work from home. They've got different ideas and different thoughts, and they believe in different things, and they say different things that nobody even understands what the heck they mean. And there's a guy that has the answer to this, and this is important for us to understand this. So watch this. It's a little bit long, but it's worthy of being seen.
The job market can be competitive in today's world, which makes it even more important for applicants to showcase unique and useful skills they possess that can set them apart from other candidates. Babylon Bee has surveyed a pool of Gen Zers to compile the following list of the most useful skills they include on their job applications. Number one, knows what skibbity toilet is. Only the best job candidates can skibbity. Number two has absolutely no cap. You should always be really careful of hiring any candidate with cap. Number three, their work availability is just as fluid as their gender. It's best when their schedules and their gender identity remain fluid. Number four, got a number one victory royale in Fortnite once. So they claim. I'm calling cap. That means lying. Number five knows what the word brat means on any given day. Because it doesn't mean what it used to mean. Probably means something different now than when I started the sentence. Brat. Number six. They'll sometimes show up to work. And when they do, they might even be on time. Number seven, strong command of being able to quote Shrek. I can't think of anything more useful in the workplace. Hey, donkey, get out of my swamp. Number 8, knows the indigenous owners of the land that your business is built upon. That way your company will know who to make reparations to. Super convenient. It's probably Indians. And finally, here's a great benefit. They will sometimes curl up in a ball and cry if you ask them to come into the workplace where you hired them to work. Some companies actually want their employees to work in person. That is giving me the ick. Wow, who wouldn't want to hire any applicants with such helpful and versatile skills on their resumes? We can all rest easy knowing that the future of business, commerce, and the entire society is in such capable hands. They got Riz. No mentee bees here. No mentee bees.
Yeah, no cap means no lie. Cap means lie. That's the only one I went and checked on, because he said, we only hire people with no cap. And I'm thinking, what the hell is no cap? So they've got all these little phrases. Did you ever stop to think about how the English language got started? In other words, how do you have French words as opposed to German words as opposed to English? Who was it that formulated these words and came up with the English structure to say that there's woman and there's women, or that you would have, I don't know, there's other examples of that. And to learn that when you come to this country, wow. Or you go to France and you try to figure out their language and learn it. Or Spanish, which, of course, now you have to have Spanish if you just go downtown. But Gen Z, we now know how to hire them. I think that's spectacular. All right, final piece. This is, I guess the only way to put it is this is a prime example of the end of the road of it's never going to happen. The glorious, I guess, celebration of it's not going to happen, but it did.
Donald Trump has defeated Hillary Clinton to become president-elect of the United States.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election.
I love this country.
Newsweek had already shipped out this cover, Madam Secretary, but quickly had to change it to this, President Trump.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. So help me God. Congratulations.
And that, my friends, is going to happen next Monday again. God, pray that he's still alive. There's lunatics out there. The Secret Service and all of the security is very concerned. Everybody's planning to do stuff to be able to protect him. And I think they will. I think there's a commitment now that has not been there. Next Monday will be a big deal. So he will be sworn in somewhere around noon on Monday. It's not exact. I'm going to try to capture as much as I can from that, which is 10 o'clock my time. We go on the air 11 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And I'll have little pieces of that. So if you have to work, I don't want you to have to watch anything else other than Framers View. So I try to make it easy for you to get the most important things. So I'll do my best to grab those, get the editing together so we can have some things that people will be able to have shared with them, that I can share with you. That's it. America's a great place. Our medical system sucks, but it's way better than Canada. We have people that are scary in this country, but we have security. We have food. We have places for people to go if they're homeless, legitimately gone through some bad things, or they're medically challenged. We have help for them. Those kind of opportunities aren't there in a lot of other countries. We are in the greatest country in the world, and I am proud to be part of it. Framers View is proud to be here every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And I'll be back here tomorrow. And until then, carry on.
Thanks for your support. Join the Framers View Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern.